The warning Callan had always wanted to see the stars, not just look at them, but really see them. So when Earth's student exchange program offered him a 1-year stay on the alien planet Veltria, he said yes faster than his brain could even ask, "Is this safe?" Veltria was peaceful. Clean air, 2 moons. The food was weird but kind of tasty if you ignored the smell. And the people? Tall, soft-spoken, glowing eyes, and always polite. Especially his host family, the Thalans. They lived in a large, smooth-looking house built into the side of a glowing purple hill. A bit like a spaceship in a cave had a baby. Mr. and Mrs. Thalan were kind. Warm. But there was one rule. A very serious rule. On his first night during dinner, Mr. Thalan leaned in and spoke in a low voice. "You are welcome in our home, Callan. But you must remember during the Red Moon Week, do not open your door at night. No matter what you hear, no matter who knocks." Callan blinked, half smiling. "Okay, sounds spooky. Is this some local Halloween thing?" Mrs. Thalan didn't smile. She just stared at her soup and whispered, "You must listen, especially if Zira knocks." Zira, their daughter. Callan had seen her once, tall, silver hair, sharp features, and eyes that glowed like burning stars. She didn't speak to him. She barely looked at anyone, and she stayed in the dark part of the house behind a sealed door. Later that night, Callan sat on his bed thinking. He wasn't scared. Not really. Maybe a little creeped out. But hey, this was space. Of course, aliens had weird rules. The moons outside glowed red, deep crimson, like blood mixed with fire. It was beautiful. And just a little wrong. He decided to ignore it. Just after midnight, Callan heard it. Knock, knock. He sat up straight, then again. Knock, knock, knock. Soft, almost gentle. But somehow, not human. He held his breath. Maybe it was Mr. Thalan checking. If he followed the rule, another knock, then a voice whispering like it came from inside his own head. Callan. Open the door. He jumped back. What the hell? The voice came again, softer this time. I know you hear me. Why are you afraid? He grabbed a pillow, like that would somehow protect him, and backed into the corner of the room. His eyes moved slowly toward the door. The knob was moving. He forgot to lock it. Heart pounding, Callan rushed to the door and held the handle tight. Nope. Nope. This is not happening. Outside, something brushed against the wood. Not a knock. A stroke. Like fingertips, Callan, the voice whispered, clearer now. You left the door open. Why? He didn't answer. Then silence. For a long minute, nothing happened. And just when he started to breathe again, scratch. Not on the door. Above it. He looked up. Thin, claw-like fingers were slowly sliding across the top of the frame, leaving tiny glowing lines behind them. Callan froze. Then, just as suddenly as it started, everything stopped. The fingers vanished. The door handle was still. The whispers were gone. He stood there, heart racing for what felt like forever. Then, finally, he locked the door. Twice. Morning came, and the house looked normal again. Mr. Thalan acted like nothing had happened. Zira didn't come to breakfast. Of course she didn't. Callan decided not to bring it up. But something had changed. When he checked his room later, he saw 3 tiny glowing fingerprints on the inside of his window, from the inside. He hadn't opened the window. Not once. That night, the red moons rose again, and this time the knocking didn't stop. Alien sister problems. Callan didn't sleep much after the second night of knocking. He tried pillows over the ears, headphones, even sleeping in the closet. But none of it helped. Every time the red moons rose, the knocking returned, always soft, always calm. But it was getting closer. Last night, he heard breathing from the other side of the door. This morning, he found a note on his floor, written in glowing ink that faded as soon as he touched it. It read, "We are not so different, you and I." Callan had questions. A lot of questions. But every time he tried to ask the Thalens, they smiled politely and said, "The red moon will pass soon. Just be patient." Yeah, sure, easy for them to say. Their daughter wasn't scratching his ceiling. Later, that day Callan walked past Zira's door. It was open, wide open. No one else was in the hallway. He paused, looked left, looked right, then did what every dumb character in every horror movie does. He stepped inside. Her room was cold. Not turn up the AC cold, more like why does my breath look like fog? Cold. The walls weren't painted. They were covered in symbols, spirals, circles, words in alien languages, drawn in perfect symmetry. Some of them glowed faintly. Others pulsed like they were alive. On a small desk there were sketches of Earth maps, human DNA sequences, photos of people with red X's on them. What the hell? He reached for one of the papers, but the moment his fingers touched it, "That's mine," Zira's voice. Callan turned around. She was standing in the corner, half in shadow. Her silver hair seemed brighter now. Her eyes glowed like coals, staring straight through him. "You're not supposed to be in here," she said. Her voice was calm, soft, but somehow made his knees want to leave the building without the rest of him. I was just... Your door was open and You were warned." She took a step forward. Callan held up his hands. Okay, look, I'm sorry, but can we talk about the knocking? And the ceiling scratches and the breathing? I'm not sleeping well." Zira tilted her head. "You heard me. You nearly gave me a heart attack." She looked almost amused. "You're not like the others." Callan blinked. "What others?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked toward him, slow like a predator deciding if the prey was worth the effort. Her eyes narrowed. "You're awake. I mean, yes? I'm standing right here." "No, not that kind of awake." Her fingers hovered near his face. She didn't touch him, but the air around her hand buzzed, like static. Then she whispered, "You hear my mind, don't you?" Callan shook his head. "You're what now?" Zira stepped back, breathing heavily. For the first time, she looked afraid. "You shouldn't be able to. Only Veltrians can hear the mind voice. If you can, that means..." She trailed off. "What? That I'm special?" Callan said with a nervous grin. "Cool. I'll put it on my space resume." Zira didn't laugh. She stared at him. "You're not what you seem. None of you are." And then, without another word, she turned and vanished, into the shadow of the room, literally, like smoke fading. Later that night, Callan sat on his bed trying to decide if he should run away, call Earth, or cry into his pillow. But before he could pick, something worse happened. The power went out, the lights died, the walls hummed, and then a voice came through the silence. Not Zira's, it was low, broken, mechanical. Subject 7. Awakening. Human anomaly detected. Callan froze. Begin phase 2. The window shattered from the inside. A bright red light flooded the room. Callan crawled back terrified until he saw her, Zira, standing in the light. Her eyes weren't glowing anymore. They were on fire. She looked different now. Less human. More other. And behind her, in the red glow, were more figures, silhouettes, all tall, all with burning eyes. Zira spoke, voice no longer soft. "They warned you about me, but I'm not the only one." Chased in the dark, Callan couldn't move. He was staring at Zira, but this wasn't the same girl who had whispered to him through the door. Her skin shimmered like glass holding fire. Her bones seemed too sharp, too long. Her eyes burned like little suns, and behind her stood 3 others, all Veltrian, all glowing, all watching him like he was a snack that had suddenly grown legs. He managed to whisper, "This isn't a dream, is it?" Zira didn't smile. "No," she said. "This is a hunt." The light behind her flared brighter, then vanished, leaving only darkness. Total darkness. No lights, No glowing walls, no hum of energy, just pitch black and the sound of feet, many feet, moving across the floor toward him. Callan turned and ran. He didn't care where, just away. He ran through the curved hallways of the Thalen home, which now felt more like a maze than a house. The walls flickered with strange symbols he didn't remember seeing before, some of them glowing like veins, others pulsing like heartbeats. Behind him, footsteps. Too many. Too fast. Zira's voice echoed through the halls, inside his head, like a song that had lost its melody. You shouldn't have opened the door, Callan. He turned a corner and slammed into a metal wall, a dead end. He spun around, heart racing, but the hallway was empty. Silent. Breathing hard, he backed away from the wall, and a hand shot out from the floor. A hand. From the floor. It grabbed his ankle, ice cold and strong as stone. Callan screamed and kicked hard. The hand slipped and he stumbled backward into a control panel. The wall next to him hissed open. A door. Not a hallway door. Not part of the house. A hidden door. Without thinking, Callan threw himself inside and slammed it shut behind him. Silence. For a moment, there was nothing but darkness and the sound of his own breathing. Then, lights flickered on, and Callan realized where he was. A lab, a secret lab under the house. The room was filled with glowing tanks, each containing something floating. Some were Veltrian, some were not. One had human bones inside. Another had a creature, with eyes on both sides of its face and a human hand. Callan backed away, nearly slipping on the polished floor. He moved toward a large console with Earth letters on it. Actual Earth English, Project Red Moon. Subject, Zira Thalen. Status, unstable hybrid, under observation. Warning, human proximity may trigger evolutionary phase. What the hell is this? He whispered. Then he saw the video logs. Footage of Zira as a child being examined, injected, hooked to machines, sometimes glowing, sometimes screaming. She wasn't just a Veltrian. She was something else, and Earth was behind it, his own people. Suddenly the screen flickered, a face appeared. Old. Stern. Military uniform. Earth patch on the shoulder. If you're watching this, the man said, it means Subject Zira has made contact during Red Moon phase. We underestimated her evolution rate. If you're human and alive, your blood may trigger the final stage. In that case, run. Callan's mouth dropped. Oh, great advice, thanks. Super helpful. Then he heard it. A sound like claws sliding across glass. Right behind him. He turned. Zira stood in the doorway, her body flickering like static. Part girl, part nightmare. But something was different now. She wasn't chasing him. She was shaking. Help. Me, she whispered. Her body glowed red and blue like two energies fighting inside her. Her eyes rolled back and she dropped to her knees. Callan. It's not just me, she said. There are others. The Red Moon doesn't control us. It activates us. I'm trying to stop it, but I'm losing. He rushed to her, unsure why. Maybe because she looked human again for just a second. Maybe because she was the only one who had told him the truth. She grabbed his arm, her grip weak. Now. They lied to you. Earth didn't come here to make peace, they came to make weapons. Zira. What are you? Her eyes locked onto his. Half hope, half hell. And then the wall behind them exploded. Figures stepped through the smoke. Veltrian. Soldiers, red armor, long rifles aimed at them both. Step away from the hybrid, one barked. Zira stood up slowly, flames rising behind her. No, Callan said, standing in front of her. She's not your enemy. She's not yours either, the soldier replied. Not after what she's becoming. Then a distant alarm started ringing. One of the tanks in the lab shattered. Another subject was waking up, and it wasn't Zira. It was worse. The hidden. Experiment. The siren screamed like a dying robot. Red lights flashed across the hidden lab, casting long, shaky shadows on the walls. The tank that shattered wasn't just leaking fluid. It was leaking something alive. Something big. Callan stood between Zira and the red-armored Veltrian soldiers, both sides frozen as a sound filled the room. Wet footsteps, claws dragging along, the floor and something else, growling but not from an animal, from a voice that used to be human. Zira whispered, "It's Subject 3. They said it was destroyed." Spoiler, it wasn't. From the dark corner of the lab, a creature crawled into view. Its body was long, wrong, and twitching. One half was Veltrian. The other half? Human. Male. But stretched, melted together with jagged, pulsing tech all over. Its body. Its jaw unhinged. It screamed. Not a roar. Not a call. A scream of pain that had never stopped. The soldiers opened fire. Blue energy blasts lit up the lab. The creature moved like smoke, dodging, twisting, crawling up the walls and across the ceiling, like gravity was just a mild suggestion. One soldier got too close. He vanished under claws and teeth. Zira grabbed Callan's hand. "We have to go. Now. No argument here." They ran. As they sprinted down the winding halls behind the lab, Callan shouted, "What the hell was that thing?" Zira didn't look back. "A failed hybrid. One of the first. Before they had me." "They used humans?" "They used everything." They reached a sealed door. Zira pressed her palm against the panel and it scanned her DNA. The door slid open, revealing a long, dark tunnel. It smelled like dust, metal, and secrets. "Where does this go?" Callan asked. "To the truth." She wasn't lying. The tunnel opened into another hidden room. Bigger, older, full of ancient alien machinery that looked like it had been asleep for 1,000 years and was now waking up. Callan stepped in and froze. There were pods lining the walls, dozens of them, all filled with people, some human, some Veltrian, something in between. "Are they alive?" he asked. Zira nodded grimly. "Earth's experiments didn't stop with me. They kept going. They wanted to create a hybrid army, strong like Veltrians, smart like humans, and easy to control. Why didn't Veltria stop it? Because Earth lied to them, said it was for peace, for protection, but it was about power." Zira walked to one of the pods and wiped away the frost. Inside, a little girl, maybe 10, pale blue skin, blonde hair, eyes closed. "She's part human," Callan whispered. Zira's voice cracked. "They called her Subject 11. I called her sister." He looked at her. Really looked at her. Zira wasn't just an alien in heat or a scary hybrid experiment. She was a victim, and she was done being one. Suddenly, the room lit up. A massive screen turned on overhead, showing a live feed from Earth's Central Command. A woman in a gray uniform with the EarthGov logo appeared on screen. "Subject Zira," she said. "You've breached containment." Again, Zira glared. "You made me. You were made for peace. I was made to obey." The woman ignored her and turned her gaze to Callan. "Hello, Human Asset 23. Callan nearly fell over. "Excuse me? Asset what now?" "You've been monitored since birth," the woman said calmly. "Selected for psychological compatibility with hybrid energy fields. Your blood is the key to stabilizing the subjects." Callan blinked. "My what? I donated blood one time for a free pizza. That doesn't make me... It makes you the..." Final piece of the puzzle. Zira looked at him wide-eyed. "That's why I hear your thoughts, why I feel things around you." Callan turned back to the screen. "What happens if I say no?" The woman's voice turned cold. "Then all of Veltria burns, and Earth moves on to the next planet." The screen cut to black. Silence. Then Zira grabbed Callan's arm. "You can't give them what they want. If they activate the others with your DNA, they'll never stop. Earth will own the galaxy." Callan nodded. "Then we burn the whole lab, the whole system." She blinked. You'd destroy your own species' plans? Callan grinned. Lady, I'm from Earth. If it ain't working, we blow it up. That's basically our brand. But before they could do anything, boom, the tunnel behind them collapsed. The soldiers were back, and they weren't alone. Behind them floated a massive mech, driven by something not human, not Veltrian, a fusion of the worst of both, the original hybrid, Subject Zero. Zyra stepped in front of Callan, eyes glowing bright red now. This ends tonight, she said. Callan pulled a grenade from a nearby weapons crate. You read my mind, she smiled faintly. I always do. Burning moon. The lab shook like it was being punched by a god. Dust fell from the ceiling. The floor cracked beneath their feet. The hybrid mech, Subject Zero, moved like a predator sniffing fresh prey. Zira's fingers sparked with raw energy. Her eyes flickered between red and blue. Unstable, torn between control and collapse. Behind her, Callan stared at the grenade in his hand like it had suddenly become the most important thing in the galaxy. Please tell me you know how to throw that, Zyra muttered. Just far enough to impress my high school gym teacher, he replied. She didn't smile this time. Subject Zero stepped into the room, 10 feet tall, humming with dark tech and rotten bone. Its mouth opened sideways. It didn't speak. It screamed, a sound like static mixed with murder. Run! Zyra shouted. Callan didn't argue. They sprinted through the corridor as the hybrid monster fired a beam of red plasma. It melted the wall like butter. Pipes exploded. Steam hissed from the vents. The whole facility was dying, and it was taking everyone down with it. As they ran, alarms blared through every speaker. Warning. Red moon phase. Reaching critical levels. Hybrid awakening accelerating. Containment breach imminent. Evacuate. 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 Zyra slammed her hand against a wall panel, opening a secret shaft. Maintenance tunnel, she said. Shortcut to the central tower. Why are there so many secret doors in this place? She gave a tired glance. You don't experiment on people in open concept homes, Callan. Fair point. They crawled through the tunnel, fast and breathless. Behind them, the screams of soldiers and hybrids echoed. The facility wasn't just a lab anymore, it was a battlefield, and every hybrid pod was waking up. The tunnel dropped them into the underground levels of Veltria's central tower, the heart of the city. Above, the red moons glowed stronger than ever, bleeding across the sky like open wounds. Zyra looked up. They're using the moons to broadcast the activation signal. From the tower? She nodded. If we destroy the tower, the signal stops. And if we don't? Then Earth has an army of unstoppable, mind-controlled hybrid soldiers by morning. Callan took a deep breath. Okay. Blow up the evil tower. Easy plan. Totally normal Friday night. They entered the tower through a lower vent and climbed toward the main control chamber. The tower was nearly empty. Most Veltrians had already evacuated, sensing the chaos. Only Earth soldiers remained, guarding the broadcast room. Zyra dropped, the first guard with a silent hit. Callan helped by tripping over a pipe and accidentally knocking another unconscious. He swears it was tactical. When they reached the main chamber, they found a giant energy core pulsing in the center. A swirling red and gold storm contained in a glass orb the size of a car. This is it, Zyra said. The signal core. It controls the red moon frequency. And if we overload it? She glanced at the core. We don't just stop the signal, we vaporize everything within a 5-mile radius. Cool. That's not terrifying at all. Suddenly, the room locked down. Steel. Doors slammed shut. A force field snapped into place. On the upper balcony, the woman from Earth's command appeared. A hologram. Calm, clean, and annoyingly smug. You've come far, Subject Zyra, and Human Asset 23. I must say, your performance exceeded expectations, Callan shouted. Do you people ever not sound evil? She smiled. We offered peace, we offered evolution, you chose chaos. Zyra stepped forward. You used us, you lied. And now you're going to watch your perfect plan burn. The woman's eyes narrowed. Then you've chosen extinction. She disappeared, and behind the force field, Subject Zero dropped from the ceiling. Again. Only now it was bigger, angrier, and it was learning. The fight that followed was chaos in a bottle. Zira fought like lightning, blasting the monster with waves of psychic energy. But she was losing control. Her power flared wildly. Her body glitched between forms. The red moon was pulling her in. Callan, meanwhile, dodged plasma blasts, rewired a console with 2 wires and chewing gum, and armed the grenade with shaky hands. I swear, if I die saving the galaxy, someone better name a sandwich after me, he muttered. Subject Zero roared. Zyra fell to her knees, panting, her voice hoarse. Callan, the core, now. He looked at her, then the grenade, then the core, then back at her. Can you survive the blast? She shook her head. Can you? No. They stared at each other, then she smiled. Time to find out what makes us human. He nodded, and threw the grenade into the core. Boom. A white light swallowed everything. Silence. Then, wind, dirt, breathing. Callan opened his eyes. He was alive. Somehow. Burned. Bruised. Alive. Next to him, Zyra lay in the grass. Still. Silent. He crawled over, shaking her gently. Zira? Hey, wake up. Her eyes opened slowly. You didn't explode. He grinned. That makes 2 of us. The tower was gone. A smoking crater in its place. The red moons. Fading. Above, the sky turned blue for the first time in weeks. But in the distance, new ships, Earth reinforcements. Zira sat up. It's not over, yet Callan nodded. But this time they're not ready for us. The breakout smoke rose where the tower once stood. The red moon signal was gone, but the peace didn't last long. Within hours, the sky filled with Earth's warships. Big, black, and full of soldiers who didn't come to talk. Callan stood on the edge of the crater with Zira beside him, both bandaged, bloodied, and barely standing. They really don't take no well, Callan muttered. Zira didn't laugh. Her eyes were locked on the descending ships. They'll sterilize the whole planet if they have to. Wipe it clean. Call it an accident. So what now? She turned to him. Now, we break out of the story they wrote for us. The 2 of them ran, limped, really, into the ruined city below. Veltrian streets were mostly empty, buildings cracked and glowing dim from emergency power. But underground, that's where the resistance was waiting. Zira led Callan through twisting tunnels beneath the old transport rails into a hidden base lit by flickering lights and guarded by hybrids in patched armor. They weren't monsters. They were survivors. Broken, yes. Mutated some, but eyes full of fire. A young hybrid girl stepped forward. Her left arm was metal, her right eye mechanical. She saluted Zyra. You really blew it up? Zyra nodded. Red moon's offline. And Earth knows? They're coming. The girl smiled. Good. In the center of the base, Callan found a map of the region. Earth bases, comms towers, weapon caches. Zira pointed to the largest one, E-Station Prime, Earth's forward command center. That's where they control their orbital weapons, she explained. If they activate the Sterile Sky Protocol, they can kill everything on the surface from orbit. Callan blinked. Sterile Sky? Who names these things Bond villains? We have to take that station before they fire. All right, Callan said. So what's the plan? Zira raised an eyebrow. I was hoping you had one. He smirked. I'm human. Improvising is the plan. The next 12 hours were chaos. Callan. Zyra and a team of rogue hybrids launched hit-and-run attacks across the city. They hijacked drones, overloaded Earth tech with Veltrian hacks, and sent out encrypted messages to the remaining cities. The truth was spreading. Every hybrid who had once been silenced now knew Earth had used them, lied to them, and still wanted to erase them. The people, both human and Veltrian, began to rise. A rebellion was growing. And Earth doubled down. They activated AI command, Unit Omega, an artificial general designed to predict and crush rebellion. Omega didn't talk. It broadcast one message: surrender is peace, resistance is death. So, of course, Callan flipped it off on live feed. Then things got really interesting. On the night before the final assault, Zyra found Callan alone, fixing a power cell with duct tape and pure hope. She sat beside him, quiet, for a moment. "You're not a soldier," she said. He shook his head. "Nope. But you stayed." "Why?" He looked at her, eyes tired but steady. "Because the people who made me made this mess. And maybe I'm just a sarcastic idiot with no plan, but I'm not letting them clean it up with fire and lies." She nodded slowly, then softly. "If we survive this, I want to see your planet." Callan smiled. "We've got tacos. You'd love tacos." The final battle came at dawn. E-Station Prime stood like a metal mountain guarded by drones, soldiers, and automated turrets. Zira and the hybrids attacked the front, fast, loud, drawing fire. Callan slipped in through the maintenance vents again. Why do all evil bases have vents? Inside, Omega was waiting, a massive AI core floating in a cage of spinning data and laser grids. Omega scanned Callan. "Human Asset 23 detected. Stand down. Return to protocol." Callan raised his last grenade. "I don't take orders from USB sticks. You are vital. Without your DNA, the hybrids collapse. Then I guess they're stronger than you think." He threw the grenade into the power conduit and ran. The explosion shattered the control system. Outside, Zyra saw the signal towers spark and die. The orbital weapons powered down, and for the first time since the red moon rose, silence. The battle was over. Earth lost control. Zyra stood with Callan on a rooftop, smoke rising behind them. "We broke the signal. We stopped the sterile sky," she said, "but Earth will send more, won't they?" Callan nodded. "Always." She turned to him. "Then we send something back." He raised an eyebrow. "Like what?" She held up a small glowing chip. "Omega's memory core, proof of everything." They looked at each other. A hybrid girl, a human rebel, not soldiers, not heroes, just people who said no and meant it. Humanity, yeah. The message was sent across Veltria, across nearby systems, across every hidden satellite and dark frequency channel Earth thought no one else could access. Zyra uploaded everything: the lab footage, the test logs, the truth behind Project Red Moon, the experiments, the children, the betrayal. Callan stood by her side as the final file beamed into space, a live feed, his tired human face blinking into every major hub on Earth. "Hi, my name's Callan. I'm from Earth, and I'm here to tell you, we messed up. And I mean big time. Your leaders lied. They turned peace into control, science into slavery. But it's over now, because we're still here, and we remember what being human means. We screw up, we fall, but when we rise, we take monsters down. With us." He smiled. "And by the way, your AI sucks." The feed cut, and all across the stars, the truth exploded like wildfire. Earth, 3 hours later. The Council of Command watched the feed on silent screens, faces pale, angry, afraid. One general stood up. "This isn't possible." Another replied, "It doesn't matter. The lie's dead, the galaxy knows." Riots broke out in Earth colonies, protests in major hubs. Whistleblowers came forward. Earth's tight grip began to loosen, for the first time in decades. One rogue soldier, an Earthborn pilot, defected mid-mission, dropped supplies to the hybrids, sent a message: "We stand with truth." Back on Veltria, Zira walked through the once empty streets. Now people watched her with different eyes. Not as a monster, not as a weapon, but as a symbol. Callan followed. Behind her, nursing a bruised shoulder and a smile. "You've started a revolution," he said. Zira looked at him. We started it. Sure, but you're glowing like a goddess and I look like a raccoon with space rabies. You smell like one too, she added. They both laughed, for the first time in what felt like forever. But peace didn't last long. The sky shifted. A ship approached, not Earth, not Veltrian. Something older. Zira stiffened. The signal must have awakened them. Kaelin squinted. Them? Define them. She didn't answer. The ship descended slowly. No weapons, no lights. Then a voice echoed, across minds, not air. We have watched. We have waited. The hybrids are not an accident. They are a beginning. Zira grabbed Kaelin's hand. They're the ancients. The ones who seeded life, the ones who left behind us. The voice continued. You broke the chain, you chose freedom, we will not stop you. Kaelin blinked. Wait, that's it? No lasers, no invasions? No, only respect. The ship vanished in a blink of light, leaving them in silence again. That night, under the now faded red moons, the hybrids and Veltrians gathered in a great circle. A new flag was raised, not Earth's, not Veltria's, but a symbol of unity. Two hands, one human, one hybrid, clasped around a glowing star. Kaelin stepped onto a makeshift podium. Nervous, sweaty, still limping, he took a deep breath. You all know who I am. I'm the guy who opened the door when he wasn't supposed to. Laughter. I'm also the guy who got chased, scratched, thrown into a secret lab, blew up a tower, hijacked an AI, and somehow didn't die. Cheers. He smiled. But the truth is, I'm not special. I'm just human. And being human means something. He looked at Zira, who nodded. It means we fight back. It means we speak up. It means we choose freedom, even when it's messy, even when we're scared, even when it costs us everything. He raised his hand. And if you're with me, then you're one of us now. Hybrid, Veltrian, whoever you are, we're not experiments. We're not weapons. We're family. The crowd erupted. Later, alone on the rooftop, Kaelin sat beside Zira again. Think Earth will leave us alone now? He asked. She shook her head. No, but now. We're ready. He leaned back, looking at the stars. Do you think we'll ever go back? To Earth? He shrugged. To something normal. Zira smiled. Kaelin, you're you. Normal was never part of the deal. Then softly, the red moon is gone, but another moon's rising, and this time, it's ours. They sat in silence as a new moon crept over the horizon, bright, gold, peaceful, and waiting for what came next.